So when I made the black sheep sweater, I hit it with a spoon. But did that actually do anything? We're gonna find out. Hitting ferrule knitting with a spoon during the blocking process is supposed to flatten out the ferrule and make it a little more smooth-ish. It's a technique I've seen used in a couple of YouTube videos, but it seems to have originated with Roxanne Richardson. And she takes a hand-knit ferrule project and turns it inside out and hits it with a spoon and claims that it makes it smoother and better. I did it because this was my first time working on a big project with wool, and this sweater has very long floats. But because I knit it on a knitting machine, the tension is always perfect. There are no issues with floats being too long or too tight. But I did have some interesting issues where you could see the separation between the colors on the right side. And I think hitting it with a spoon made it better and smoother and flatter. But it's time to test that theory and see if this actually works. So I'm going to make a bunch of swatches, and then I'm going to hit half of them with a spoon for a set period of time. And then once they're all dry, I'm going to take a look and see if hitting it with a spoon actually did anything. My hypothesis is that this only really works with wool, because wool is kind of grippy, and I believe that hitting it with a spoon is enough force and agitation to cause the tiniest little bit of felting so that the floats stick to the back of the work. If that is true, that means this is not going to do anything really for acrylic. So I'm going to make 2 swatches in wool and 2 swatches in acrylic, and then I'm going to block them and hit with them with a spoon. And when they're ready, we're going to take a look and see if hitting with a spoon actually did anything at all. I have some wool left over from the black sheep sweater project that we're going to use. And I have some acrylic in similar colors for the acrylic side, but the reds are different enough that I'll be able to tell them apart. All right, let's do some swatching. And I still have not fixed the extra hump on the sheep in my digitized black sheep pattern. I don't think I'm going to fix it. I think it's a feature now. All right, let's do some swatching. Here are my swatches, hot off the machine, and this is what I meant by the separation between the 2 colors. So you can see the floats behind the sheep with the white and the red, and it's a lot more pronounced on the acrylic than it is on the wool. See, it's not that bad there. Okay, I'm gonna go block these. So the darker ones are the acrylic, and then the lighter ones are the wool, and I'm not going to pin these out. I'm just going to give them a couple tugs in this direction, and then a couple tugs in this direction. Treat them all the same way. And then I'm going to hit the ones on the right with the spoon. Spoon. Hey Google, set a timer for 15 seconds.
Okay, 15 seconds. Starting now.
Hey Google, set a timer for 15 seconds. Hey Google, cancel. Hey Google, Cancel! Let me get my phone. Cancel! Hey Google, cancel. Shut the fuck up! Shut up! Okay. That didn't quite go as planned. We set a new timer. 15 seconds on my phone, and I'm going to do 15 seconds of spoon on each side of thing. Okay, that's it. I'm going to remember that the ones on the right are the ones that I hit with the spoon, and I'm going to let these dry, and then we're going to come take a look at them when they're done and compare them to the unspooned version. I've changed my mind. We're going to do this additional 30 seconds per side because I don't think it was enough hitting with a spoon to make any significant difference. So 30 seconds we go. All right, now we're done. I will come back in later and look at these. Okay, my swatches are dry. It's been a couple of days, and I can see that, like, this is the wool. The one that I hit with the spoon is a little more flattened out than the one that I didn't, but there's really not much going on with the acrylic. Okay, what I'm gonna do now is mark these. Where my pins go? I have some sewing pins, and I'm gonna mark these. Let's say this greenish color is gonna be the ones I hit with the spoon, and I'm just gonna put a pin down in the bottom, and it'll get rolled up in the stockinette, and I won't be able to see what it is. And then we'll do purple for the one that I didn't hit with a spoon. So I'm gonna mark these, and then I'm gonna take them out to my workshop space and then look at them individually, ignoring whether they've been hit by a spoon or not, and see what we see. Oh, no, I wanted this to be purple. Okay, off we go. Here are my swatches. I have marked them with pins so that if I unroll the bottom edge, I can tell if it was hit with a spoon or not, but I've mixed them up. I don't know which is which. Let's take a look and see if hitting it with a spoon actually did anything. And we're starting with the acrylic because I think that did the least. The floats are still very loose on the back. You can see when I shake them. And I'm still seeing color separation between the sheep and the background. You can see the long floats poking through. Let me see if I can even tell which one got hit with a spoon. I think this one was hit with a spoon because it's a little less curled up than the other one, and that's like the only thing that the spoon really did to it, and my fingers are slipping through the floats. So let's see, was this a spoon one? This was the spoon one, so it did make some minor difference, but it hasn't done much for it as expected. Okay, acrylic to the side. And then we have the wool. Your right side up and your right side up. And these actually look pretty good. The floats are not all that loose. They're pretty held down. And here on this one, also pretty held down. And like running my fingers along dislodges the super long floats, but not the rest of them on this one. And then on this one also dislodges them. Let me see if I can tell the difference between the one that was hit with a spoon and the one that was not. So I'm just going to run my finger along the underside of the floats. These ones come up more easily. And I don't know if you can really tell here, but like look at the red sheep there. There's not a whole lot of fuzz going on and it's just red. And then look at the red sheep there. There's a little more fuzz going on and it's a little lighter. I think it's blended with white fibers a little bit. I think this is the one that was hit with a spoon. And this is the one that was not. Let me check that. Yep, this is the spoon one. So it does make a bit of a difference. The floats on this one are held down a little bit more. They're like a little more attached to the background. And you can see a little bit of fuzz. So I believe this has felted like ever so slightly. And this one is just what you get from normal blocking. And let's look at the color separation. The color separation is about the same on both. The wool is just much more forgiving to long floats than acrylic will ever be. So it does make something of an impact. Acrylic, it does nothing for really. It really only flattened it out a little bit more. And I think after washing it a couple times in the washer dryer, it would have the same effect. But like, don't do long floats on acrylic. It's just not doing much for it. So I think we've learned something from this. I think we can honestly say that hitting it with a spoon does help a bit with the super long floats. I didn't have any issues with things bunching up or having weird lumps because this is all machine knit, and that means that the tension and the floats are always going to be exactly the same for the most part. So I cannot comment on how hand knitting with a spoon would turn out, but for machine knitting, it does help a bit with float control on the back if you don't want to deal with latching things up or sewing floats down. So it's an option. This was an interesting experiment. I think I learned something from this, and not just taking internet wisdom at face value, but instead investigating on my own. Are there any other knitting techniques that you want me to look at and see if they actually do anything? Have you ever tried hitting your knitting with a spoon? How did it turn out? Is it worth the effort? Let me know in the comments. I had a lot of fun in this process. I want to say thank you to channel members who make videos like this possible. If you'd like to become a channel member and support this channel, click the join button down below. All channel members get early access to new videos, and channel members at the mid-tier and up get access to members only videos, which are like behind the scenes things and process things and some recent looks into my trip to the UK last month. So if that's your thing, go check it out. Thanks for watching. Happy knitting. I gotta go get a spoon. Hold on. Okay, we need a thumbnail. And this is the one that was originally hit with a spoon. Can you tell what it is, first of all? And then I hit it. Oh boy, this is gonna be a ridiculous thumbnail. Let me get it upright. And I want it to be out in front. Focus on the thing, not my face. Okay, we can do this. It's hitting my ring and being very loud. Let's see what that looks like.